2008, my family moved from the UK, a place with so much memory, so much joy and friends, to Houston, Texas. And while my days were spent with new sights, sounds, smells, the nights were filled with surreal dreams. Chuck E. Cheese became a local swimming pool. The Rainforest Cafe, with all its tropical sounds, birds squawking, lions roaring, became my UK school, with all the hum buzz of an American fluorescent light. And my home became a mess of rooms, with the new house and old all meshing together, never making any sense. You might wonder why this is important. For years, I quite literally haven't remembered any of these dreams. This was until I saw a movie called Backrooms. Hello everyone, I'm Meltdown Boy, and today I want to talk to you about Backrooms. I just watched the movie and it's incredible. Kane Parsons has really outdone himself. I've always been a fan of his YouTube series, and to see this like on a big screen was just something I never thought would happen. It was when I was booking the tickets, I had a moment where I went like, I can't believe this is real. But anyway, if you don't know what the Backrooms is, even though you've clicked this video, it's a movie, and it was originally an analog horror series by Kane Parsons, both directed by the same person, and an internet concept in general of like an endless office space that's got monsters in it, and it's unsettling and eerie, but in some ways it's comfortably dreamlike, and it kind of reminds you of home or a place that you remember in a nice way, which is quite fascinating. But enough of me talking about what the Backrooms is in general. Let's talk about the movie. The movie is phenomenal. It's exactly what I hoped it would be. To start off, the visuals are incredible. My favourite parts of the movie is when it's in a found footage aesthetic, and it just kind of really gets you right into the thick of it, because it's all in first person. And I think this and, X8 that came out earlier kind of nailed that aspect of just, you don't really see that many movies that are in first person for some bits, and I think this definitely nailed it and made it believable. There's a lot of parts of making something that's found footage that can kind of feel contrived, or if you look at some bits of maybe Cloverfield where you're like, why would this person have a camera in their hand, So I'm really glad that Kane really seems to have worked very heavily on trying to figure out what bits would make sense. But in general, there's so many cool shots, the fact that everything is so practical, and it gets really strange and weird and creepy in ways that we've never really seen the Backrooms do before, and I really think that he really pushed the boundary of what the Backrooms can be, but I also think in a lot of ways he's kind of made it more grown up. I think it's amazing. There's such a sense of tactileness and realness. There's a specific moment in this movie where you see a little bit of the pool area of the Backrooms, which pool rooms, those are quite popular bits of the Backrooms in their own right. To see a little sliver of the pool bit, I was a little bit hoping for maybe a little bit more, but I understand that they have to keep sort of a consistent look of the yellow wallpaper, making sure everything looks what you'd expect. And I think there is a lot of merit to I'm glad that the whole movie sort of maintains to that original image of the Backrooms. There's even a shot, and it's in the trailer, which is exactly the same image that spawned this whole thing from 4chan. So I think amazing. They've really outdone themselves with sort of really looking at the legacy of the Backrooms and trying to like really honor it. So I think good job, Ken. But to go back to that bit that's the pool room spot, there's a bit where he sort of slips the guy holding the camera, which I'll go into a sort of maybe full spoilers, but this is just a tight kind of moment, and you see sort of like a wet floor. And there was a moment when watching this that I genuinely got like a whiff of nostalgia or memory that washed over me, as I was kind of able to like smell chlorine in a way that like I remembered as a kid going to like the local swimming pool or public swimming pool and smelling the chlorine, maybe touching the floor of this tiled floor, and I just had a wave of just memory that like it was for a split second, but it was so potent, and I hope other people had this as well. Please in the comments let me know if you had that moment as well. But it was just those sort of moments happened quite often throughout, and this is probably the most a horror movie has made me feel personally. I watch horror movies to get scared, but this one, like I said at the beginning of the intro for this video, it reminded me for the first time of the nightmares that I would have every night when I moved to Texas for a year. That was wild, since watching the movie, that a movie would unlock memories for me. So I hope that if any of you were able to have sort of a similar experience when watching the movie. There's things like the music. I love the fact that there's so many like tracks from popular liminal space videos or like the internet as a whole that have been paid homage here. Like I forget the name of it, but I'll put the names on screen of the different songs that are sort of references to just traditional liminal space videos. You know the ones if you're a big fan of Backrooms and the liminal space stuff on the internet, as I am. But yeah, there's some music, like there's the song Still Life from Kane's found footage number 3 in there, and it's like for a split second, and I immediately remembered it. Like it took me back to the original moment, like immediately from when I watched that in found footage number 3, and I got like chills. It was really cool. It's 2 seconds of it, and it's been on a loop in my brain ever since. So it sort of heightened my sort of obsession with the Backroom since then. But it's a really great song. It's kind of calming, but also a little bit creepy. I really like it. Just wow, this movie is great. And just there's so many like interesting pieces of music. There's some like bits that like at one point I think during the movie there's like some kind of just more like headbanging-ish music that happens at some point, and I was sitting in the middle of the cinema just going like because I just was like, this is some good tunes. I would genuinely, if you've seen some of my other videos, you know how much I love like my record player and listening to vinyls. So the second that if there is a vinyl that comes out for this movie, the second that vinyl comes out, I am purchasing it. Hello, Future Melty here. Since recording this video, they have announced that there is going to be a vinyl, so you best believe I'm going to get it. Going back to visuals, I just think there's so many like things that like feel so dreamlike. There's a spoiler. There's a bit at the end of this movie that has like a really deep pit and like some stairs going up that don't really make sense, but it genuinely reminded me of some of my, like, once again, my dreams, and it's just so cool. Now I'm going to get into some spoilers, so if you want to watch the movie, go watch the movie and come back to this video, but if you want to stay, hi, this movie is great, and if you have watched this movie, let me know what you think. before I get into the spoilers. This movie, it follows sort of two main protagonists. You've got Clark, who's owns a furniture store, used to be an architect. Now he runs a furniture store. Down on his luck, his wife kicked him out of his own house, as he claims, and he's stuck in like a dead end job with a store that's not really making any money for himself. He's living in the store as well, which I thought was really interesting later on that you learn. I figured he might have just got his own place, but I suppose it's cheaper to just live in the furniture store in one of the beds. I think that's quite fun. The other character is Mary, who is a psychiatrist who's Clark's therapist. I really like how I watched the interview of Kane recently, where it talks about how like Clark and Mary are sort of the two ends of like where the Backrooms sort of gets its stuff from. One's from a very like architectural and surrealist point of view. One of them's from like I suppose just like the psychological aspect of the Backrooms. Like I do just love that there's it's just two ends of the coin of sort of, you know, the architecture and psychology of the Backrooms sort of coming to one. And I think it's really smart of a way to do that through the characters. I really like how this movie is more emotional and psychological than any of Kane's like short films that he's done. It's always been very logical, like it from the perspective through this company. I like that we get to see it from the flip side, and it's more through the people who get stuck in there, which is kind of always what I've been more interested in. Recently I played the Puppet Combo Backrooms game, and while I'm a bit mixed on the ending of that game, the beginning of it really focuses on the sort of terror of being stuck in this endless place, and you really feel like unnerved at sort of the dark parts of the Backrooms, and I genuinely that was got me really excited for the movie, and then I finished the ending after the movie, so I'm glad I did it in that way, in that order, because the ending is a little bit interesting, but I'll maybe do another video sort of dissecting what that game is like. Anyway, there's some like really cool bits, like the fact that like the entity or the thing that the monster that's chasing them the whole time is just a manifestation of like Clark's rage and his sort of, as Mary calls it, his whininess and sort of his everything he's wanted is sort of packed into this like creature, which is just a giant pirate version of himself. If you watch the movie, you understand what I mean. But it's just so creepy, and I love the design of that guy. I mean, the guy was in, I think, maybe my favorite Alien movie, which is Alien Romulus. But it's just, he does a terrific job as this. It's kind of like a puppet sort of way that he moves, and it's very similar to Kane's work with The Oldest View. That's sort of my idea, that I think Kane has sort of evolved what he thought was scary. In the YouTube series, it's usually like an inky, moldy monster that comes after the person in these like short films, but in the movie it's like a physical person and other still lives that are really creepy. That bit where like you see the Christmas tree and there's someone who like flicks a light on, and then there's a still life just running at him. In the movie, it's revealed now that the sort of people or manifestations of people in the Backrooms are called still lives, and I think that's really cool because the song that I mentioned earlier that's sort of been living rent free in my head is called Still Life. But yeah, there's like that bit's so creepy. The design of the monster Clark is so wonderful and amazing. Like it can't be said how like phenomenal of a job. Everyone's acting in this movie is amazing, and everyone should be proud of their work in this movie. Even like the guy from Creep that shows up at the end, like he does a really good job of like a scientist that like doesn't fully agree with what his company is doing, and like that sort of, if you've seen the movie, the sort of subtle look at the like the mirror glass where all the scientists are, and being like, I'm gonna say this anyway, but like you see some of the fear in his face, and I think that's amazing. But everyone does a really great job, and I would be surprised if some awards don't get like given to everyone in this movie, especially the person that plays Clark. Chiwetel Ejiofor should be really proud of his performance. His performance, like whenever it's with Mary in the therapy scene, where Chiwetel does an amazing job, and like later on in the dinner scene, just does an incredible job at like really showing like you have sympathy for him, but you kind of through his acting, you're like, yeah, that's why your wife left you, isn't it? Clark. So I think that's great. Mary also does a really good job of like just seeming scared for one, but also just owning a scene. Like I think those two just, even if like they're in a scene with like monsters and things, you kind of always focused on them and their like reactions and their acting, and it really sells it. There's a bit in even when like Clark is holding the camera, you can kind of still hear the fear in maybe some of Chiwetel's like voice acting when it goes into a blender mode, when the guy's like dead body gets dragged through that like plate. You genuinely feel that, and it's really impressive how well they do. Good lord, that found footage bit is incredible. I got chills. But yeah, the music is incredible, acting is incredible, the visuals are incredible. This is a really lean script. I'm really impressed that like they're able to, for someone who's known what the Backrooms is as much as Kane is, I was worried that maybe he wouldn't. I had 100% faith in him, but like, I don't know if I could explain what the Backrooms is better than the bit when they say that like the Backrooms is like if someone was told what a dog is and told to draw it without ever seeing what a dog looks like, and they would get some things right, some things not, and that's amazing. I like it. What an apt description of that like concept. As you can tell, I'm a huge fan of the movie. The only sort of gripe I would say I have against the movie is, I forget the actor's name, but the person who plays Phil, the scientist and he's in the movie Creep. I really would have liked to seen more of him. The stuff he has in this, I think I've seen videos of people saying like he didn't have that great of a performance. He does a really good job, even in those scenes. Like you're really interested in what he has to say. That's amazing. Like from the maybe 2 or 3 scenes he's in, he did a really great job. So I'm hoping, and this is the kind of vibe I'm getting, is that it seems like there's going to be more from this world, maybe more movies, maybe more short films, and I really hope to see where this goes. If you have any other ideas or like things you thought of this movie, I'd love to soon do like a theory video. I've seen a lot of stuff about like the monster version of Clark and how that might be the real Clark, so I'd love to like sort of dig deep into their theories and things. It's been really fascinating to see the Backrooms community just go buzz with ideas and concepts. And this is an incredible world that I really want to see more of. So if you have any theories, any things that you love, I'd love to hear some back and forth on what you thought of the movie, things that you didn't like, things that you thought could have been changed, and I look forward to hearing what you say. So thank you once again for watching this video. I really appreciate your time, and consider subscribing. I make videos like this, where it be like horror, video games, music, and I'd love to see you guys around. So thank you very much for watching, and have a most triumphant day.